Growing up in Canada, it's very similar to growing up in the state of Minnesota. You know, you have aspirations to play, you know, here in Minnesota to be a Gopher and play in the National Hockey League. Growing up in Canada, it was very similar. You know, Hockey Night in Canada was on every Saturday night. You always, you know, watched NHL hockey games. And growing up as a child, it was always a dream of a Canadian kid to play in the National Hockey League. But I don't think it really ever became something I looked at as a child. You know, I thought it was neat that these guys played in the NHL and everything. I don't know if it was my dream until I started to get to be about, you know, 18 or 19 years old, a year before I was drafted by the Boston Bruins. I think that's when it kind of really started to hit me that, you know, if I really took this serious, you know, maybe it's something I could make a career of and do something for the rest of my life. So that's sort of when it kind of hit me that if I began to take more of my fitness level serious and started to dial in on some of the things professional hockey players and athletes do, that who knows, maybe I could make a career of it. And I was fortunate enough and blessed enough to be able to have had a 17-year career in the National Hockey League. Well, it was really exciting. My career is kind of a long story. I don't want to bore you with everything, but I had actually played in Switzerland for 4 years before the NHL expanded with two brand new NHL teams, one franchise here in Minnesota, the other franchise in Columbus. And the general manager at that time was Doug Risebrough, and he was the assistant general manager when I had played hockey in Calgary with the Calgary Flames. And apparently he liked me as a player, and he was the new general manager in Minnesota here. And he asked me if I would be, you know, willing to come back and give it another shot to play in the National Hockey League. And I was 30 years old at that time. You know, after a few conversations, we were able to work our contract out with my agent and everything, and we moved our family back from Switzerland to Minnesota, and I ended up playing a 7-8 year career, you know, here in Minnesota before I retired about 5 years ago. And what an incredible experience to be able to play in a state where hockey means so much. Growing up in Canada, obviously it's a big deal anywhere in Canada, but Minnesota here feels like such an extension of Canada, and kind of the seasonal weather that you always get in Canada. It feels so much like home, and to play on especially that first year, to be able to play on such a competitive team. We had a lot of misfits come in from everybody. Everybody had a story as to why they didn't really pan out in the National Hockey League, and to have the NHL expand and have new job opportunities come about. It was a really neat dynamic in the dressing room to have everybody pulling on the rope, because we weren't as good as a lot of the other teams. And you know, we had I think our first year we won 25 games for an expansion team. I think that broke a record for the most wins ever by an expansion team their first year. So we had a lot of pride in our dressing room, a lot of character, and it was really a great group of guys, and an experience I'll never forget. I'm coaching the Eastridge girls high school team out in Woodbury, and you know, I coached them this winter, and you know, we talk a lot about our fitness, and again, when you know, there's certain things that you can control as a hockey player, and one of them are your fitness. And I found that myself as a hockey player, it was a very, very important part of you know, why I was able to have some success, especially the last 8 years of my career. And regardless if you're a professional athlete, or if you're a young child, or a high school hockey player, or a wrestler, it doesn't really matter. If you can understand that, you know, drinking lots of fluids and eating, you know, after practice, within a half an hour after your practice, and taking care of your body, when you ask your body to dig in and skate hard and you have to play hard, because you've done all the things before to prepare, eat properly, get your good rest and stuff, and drink a lot of water, then your body will usually perform. If you take those things for granted as an athlete, even regardless if you're a girl or boy, or it doesn't matter, if you take those things for granted, it'll be very difficult to reach your potential as an athlete, or you know, a professional athlete, or even you know, a high school hockey player. Mm-hmm. Well, for young kids, I mean, it's very similar. I think as far as strength training and stuff, I mean, we as hockey players, you need to be strong through your legs, and squat work and lunges and, you know, core work. The middle of your body is really very, very important. So when you're twisting and turning, if you can have a very strong core, it allows you to be very explosive in every angle and every situation that may bring up. So with our girls, we did a lot of core work. We made sure that we were trying to be as strong as we could through the middle of our body. A lot of lunges and squat work and stuff when we didn't have practices and we had days off. We would do a lot of leg stuff and things like that. And with my own situation, it was very similar. I was very focused on, as I got older, it wasn't so much about how heavy I could lift weights, because I didn't really want to put on a lot of weight and strength. I wanted to make sure I was agile and very fit. So I added a lot of repetition and lowered my weights, which allowed me to be much more explosive over an extended period of time as a hockey player. So in the third period, when the game was on the line, because of the way I trained, with a lot of the, I would do sets of 30s and 40s where you're so fatigued you have to learn to fight through those type of things, and that's the same kind of feeling you get, late in shifts, and when you're in the third period and you're fatigued, your body understands how to work through those barriers. And so it's like anything, the older you get, the more wise you get, the more you learn about your body and how to train to reach your optimal level, and I was no different. The older I got, the smarter I trained, and so core strength and leg training were two of the things that I really hammered as I got older as a hockey player. The days of eating chicken, fish, and water when I was a professional athlete, I couldn't wait when my career was over. I could actually, maybe go and have a hamburger, or if I wanted to spoil myself with an ice cream or something like that. So, I mean, I still work out probably 3 or 4 days a week. Either it's riding the bike or going for a run, or even weight training. Again, I don't get into heavy weights and stuff like that. I try to take care of my joints and everything like that. I don't want to get into heavy stuff. I still skate. Once a week. We have a group of guys that skate up at St. Thomas Academy, every Tuesday afternoon, and we go up there and have a good time, and it's still nice to be able to put your skates on, and it beats jumping on a treadmill and running for an hour. I feel like I can burn a lot more calories, getting out there. I get my heart rate up really high, and it's still nice to be able to go out and fool around with the guys and joke around with each other and kind of relive the days of when we used to play in the National Hockey League. So I do still get out and stay active, yes.